Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace. Welcome to The Natural Cook. I'm Anna Gershenson. Thanksgiving is around the corner, and it is my favorite holiday, and we always make traditional dishes, but this time I want to throw in something different, and I want to share it with you. I came across this wonderful recipe in a book called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Samin Nosrat is a wonderful cookbook author, and this is a very enlightening book that I highly recommend. So we are going to be roasting butternut squash and Brussels sprouts and tossing it together with red onion that was macerated in red wine vinegar. So it's called Agrodolce, which is an Italian word for sweet and sour. And it's wonderful to have these acid flavor, because we are going to be eating rich food, and we definitely want to make sure that we have acidic elements that are going to be cutting through that richness. So we are going to use a red onion, so the color will be very beautiful, and it will be even more intensified when you are going to combine it with a red wine vinegar. And I'm starting with it because, as I told you, when you are planning your meal, you are thinking like, what do I need to do first and what do I need to do next? And of course, the vegetables that we'll be roasting take longer than this, but for the purpose of my planning here for this episode, I will start with the onions. But I recommend that you actually can do these onions way in advance. They can be marinated like the day before, and you can be having them sitting and waiting for you. So I'll use only half an onion, but at least it should be marinating for 20 minutes. So you will be thinly slicing your onion, the whole half onion, and then you will take 6 tablespoons red wine vinegar, and you will throw that onion into the vinegar and just let it sit there undisturbed. And then you will fish it out and combine that vinegar together with the other ingredients that we put into our dressing for these lovely vegetables. So the onion is ready, and here I already prepped 6 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. And it has a little mother there, which is great. It means that it's really good vinegar. So let's place it there and make sure that it's submerged. Just toss it around and let it sit and marinate. Okay. So the next thing is I'll show you very quickly how to peel your butternut squash. Of course, you can buy pre-peeled butternut squash. It's your prerogative. It's sold in the store, but if you don't, then it's really not a big deal. I like choosing butternut squash that has a fairly long neck, especially for a recipe like that, because it's much easier to peel a straight neck than this curved bottom part. And also, I'm trying to, when I buy it, I try to get like a dark-skinned vegetable. In this case, it didn't really translate into dark flesh underneath. Usually it does. So this part, I just peel straight down. I peel it straight down, and And then we will cut it into 1/2-inch pieces. Okay. The round part is a little bit more challenging, but it's not really a big deal. So you cut here, slice the cap off, and then you will take a spoon and you will spoon out. See, it's a very easy motion. Just go around like that and release. And then scoop out whatever else is left there. Okay. And then here, nicely and neatly cut around this. Okay, and then we will just go and slice off the skin. Okay, and then we will cut our butternut squash into these 1/2-inch thick crescent shapes. Okay, let's see. See, here we have just a little bit left. All right. Okay. So let's set it aside. 1/2-inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. You will be cooking your butternut squash and your Brussels sprouts on separate baking sheets. Here, I'm not making the whole recipe, and the recipe is 1 pound of Brussels sprouts and 2 pounds of butternut squash. So since I'm just making this for show and tell, I will be baking them on the same baking sheets. The reason they should be baking on separate baking sheets is because Brussels sprouts will probably cook faster than butternut squash, so you don't want to jeopardize one vegetable over the other, and you want to pull out, whatever is ready, but not to make these too soft, Brussels sprouts too soft, which probably will cook faster than butternut squash, as I said before. So with Brussels sprouts, you wash them first, then you trim the end, then you get rid of these leaves. And this is actually a wonderful job that you can trust your kid to do, because it's wonderful to get them engaged in the kitchen, and especially when they are helping you with prep. They more likely will be eating things that are kind of scary for them to eat otherwise. So, so you'll remove these and see how easy it is. And then you will cut your Brussels sprouts in half and place them flat. And you will be actually tossing the Brussels sprouts and butternut squash separately. So you will take, like a big bowl. Here I have a bigger bowl. Okay, you'll take this bowl, you will place your butternut squash. Here you will season it with some olive oil. You will probably drizzle 3 tablespoons of olive oil for a 2-pound butternut squash. So you will drizzle some olive oil. Okay, and then coat it. You will take your salt and you will just season it nicely, place it on a baking sheet, make sure that they're all separate. Do the same thing with your Brussels sprouts. Okay, olive oil, a little bit, toss to coat, salt. I always like putting things on my tongue, because if I see that it tastes really seasoned, then it's a good thing. It should be really seasoned. It should taste kind of salty, because the salt will get absorbed into your vegetables, and if it's not seasoned enough, then the flavor is not going to come through to you. Okay, so we'll place it in a 425-degree oven. we will wait for about 12 minutes. You will wait when you are cooking it, okay? So then you will flip the baking sheets. You will put the top goes on the bottom and vice versa, and also back goes to the front and vice versa with both baking sheets. Okay, so now I want to show you something else, which I also just discovered recently in a new cookbook by Otto Lengi. He's such a prolific cookbook writer, and his recipes are wonderful. And this is actually going to be a wonderful recipe to use for Thanksgiving because it has pumpkin seeds. And so your oven should be preheated to 375 degrees. You will take a heaping half cup of pumpkin seeds, raw pumpkin seeds. And then you will also prepare this mixture. You will take just a couple of teaspoons, 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. So let's measure it, 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. Okay, 1, 2. You will also add 1/4 teaspoon of chili pepper flakes, red hot pepper flakes. So it's going to be kind of a little hot and spicy. And then 1/4 teaspoon salt. Okay, and then you mix them together. And then you toss your pumpkin seeds with this mixture. You line your baking sheet with parchment, and you place it on the parchment, stick it in the oven, and in about 15 minutes, and you should watch because some ovens are not calibrated properly. You don't want to burn them, but they will actually pop. They will start, they will be really toasted and brownish, and they will be also glossy and beautiful. And pumpkin seeds are wonderful to eat because this is like a superfood in a small package. They have so many wonderful nutrients and minerals. We need zinc for prostate, and so they have that. So please indulge in pumpkin seeds. Even if you cannot do them this way, eat them just plain. Okay. All right. So now we will prepare the rest of the dressing for our beautiful vegetables. And so we will put crushed garlic clove, and you can grate the garlic clove. I did not bring my grater with me, so I'll have to do it a different way, which is also another good way to make it very, very fine. So you will just smash it, okay, like that, and then you will put a little salt over it and just smash it together with this salt so that it's really separated into very, very small pieces. You don't want any big pieces there. And then you will combine this together with your olive oil. You will put 6 tablespoons of olive oil into a little bowl together with this garlic and with 1 tablespoon of sugar and a pinch of salt. And this will be your dressing. Your red wine vinegar that it was used for macerating onions will go into it as well. Okay, so let's put it there. Okay. And olive oil, 6 tablespoons. Okay. Tablespoon of sugar, I already pre-measured it. Okay. 1/4 teaspoon flakes. So you don't use black pepper in this recipe. The red pepper is going to make it spicy. Okay, and ready to go. Mix it up, and it's ready for us. Okay, so another thing that I promised to show you is how to open a pomegranate. And pomegranate is a terrific food to include in your diet. And now, of course, it's seasonal, and so it's really a good time to eat pomegranate. But many people have no idea. How do we go about opening the pomegranate? So, and it's not really that difficult. It just takes some practice. So what we are going to do now is I have this small knife that I'm going to use to just see. This is the calyx. The pomegranate is growing from here, right? This is the calyx. So as you can see, you will cut out the calyx, right? And you will just go around. You go around and cut it out, okay? And you can do it, you know, you can go in more if you want to expose the seeds, but it's not absolutely necessary at this point. So then, if you watch, the pomegranate has this rim that where it starts kind of sloping and it stops here. So I will take the knife and I will not go deep in, maybe 1/8 of an inch, so that you wouldn't damage the seed. Even if you bruise some seeds there and you go a little deeper, it's not a big deal. And then you will just remove. Okay, so I'll bring it here. You will just remove this part, and it exposes your seeds. At this point, I can see that there are some seeds that are not looking that great, and I'll get rid of them. But look again. Here you have these bumps that are sticking out, and there are 6 of them. And you will cut along these bumps, but not all the way to the end. You'll make these cuts the same way, going about 1/8 of an inch into your pomegranate. Okay. All right. And after you have made these cuts, you will open your pomegranate. So see, we need to remove more of this to make it easier for us. Okay. All right. Okay. So here we will separate it. Open it up. Okay. And you have these sections. So it looks like a flower. So then you turn it over and you start bumping with a wooden spoon. You start hitting it and the seeds start falling out. See how easy it is? The interesting thing about pomegranate is that it's something that came to us from Spanish settlers. It came to California and they still grow it there. And they are not really, they need to sit like in a dark, cold place for weeks, for even a couple of months to develop their flavor. And it's extremely good for you. And some people have questioned about whether, when we're eating the seeds, whether we need to eat the seeds. They are called arils. Whether we eat the seeds or we just squeeze out the juice and spit out the seeds. And actually the seeds have, besides having fiber, they have also a very beneficial oil that you want to have, you know, to consume. So it would be great if you just learned how to eat the seeds together with this rough pot. And it's very convenient to do it this way because unless you want to pay a lot of money buying ready-made arils at the supermarket prepared for you, you can do it yourself just in 5 minutes. And then keep it in a jar that has a tight closed lid. And it will stay there for a few days. And then you can either sprinkle it on your salad, on your roasted vegetables. That's what we'll do today. Or you can just eat it by the spoon and have this magnificent burst of pomegranate juice squeezing into your mouth. So what I'm doing now, I'm kind of like looking if there are any pomegranate seeds that went beyond their best shape. So I'm picking them out. And then what you can do also to remove this pith, which is also edible, but it's bitter, so you probably will not want to eat it. So you will take water and pour it into your pomegranate seeds, and then the pith will rise to the top, and then you can just remove it with your little skimmer or with a slotted spoon, and then you drain the water, and you have your pomegranates ready for consumption. So I hope that you will take advantage of this little tutorial and will do it yourselves and won't be shy. Don't give up if it doesn't work right away. It didn't work for me immediately, but I didn't give up, and finally I mastered this to share with you how easy it is to do. Okay, so let's now put it separately. All right, so with butternut squash and Brussels sprouts, as I said, you want to check them at a 12-minute, about 12-15-minute point, because the oven is always, because you are cooking them on 2 levels, and you want to make sure that they are cooking evenly. Okay, so let's put these guys here. All right. So at this point, I will take my vegetables from the oven when they are ready, and I'll come right back and show you how we dress them. Okay, let's check how our vegetables are doing. So our Brussels sprouts are brown and soft. And so is our butternut squash. As you can see, they are beautiful. And what you want to do now is finish preparing the dressing. So you will combine your macerated onions and vinegar all together with this olive oil mixture. Okay. You will stir them together to make sure that it's all nicely combined. And you will use, for this recipe, you will use half of this mixture to start with, and then you can see if you need to add more, depending on how it tastes. And by the way, when you work with your pomegranate, make sure to wear dark clothing, because if the juice is sprinkling, you don't want it to end up on your clothes. That is very visible. All right, so let's take our butternut squash and Brussels sprouts. We'll combine them on one baking sheet. Okay. All right, see how beautiful the colors are? And we will now spoon half of this dressing over this mixture. Okay. And then you will just toss them together and taste. And by the way, I'm going to check on my pumpkin seeds. Okay. So as you can see, they are glistening. They can roast just a little more. But they taste nice and a little salty and spicy. So let's toss these together. Then we can plate them. And then we can throw torn mint on top, which is also very interesting. I've never actually had mint with this, but I totally trust Samin because her recipes are amazing and she has a wonderful sense of what goes with what. So let's taste. This is really good. I love that what acid brings to these sweet vegetables, and this is actually perfect. This is just exactly what she said, that when you have these sweet carbs, that adding acid is something that will add to your enjoyment of food, to the flavors, make them more sophisticated, interesting. Okay, and so now torn mint. So you have a little bit of raw onions here, and you have, so she's calling in this recipe for 16 leaves of mint. So again, we had here a 2-pound piece of squash and a 1-pound. So mint, just tear it, and your dish is ready. You can put a little for decoration in the middle if you want to, but it's not really necessary. Now, these guys, that's what they look like. You will let them cool, and then you break them up, and they will be little clusters. And I hope that you enjoyed this show. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace.